I feel like every single day something else comes up that we were not prepared for. But I was like just scrolling through TikTok and I found this case of a 5 year old that murdered his twin brother. 5 years old. I'm like in awe. So I figured we could discuss it together while I take a break from my responsibilities and a deep dive on Jessica Kent because I literally want to like stab my eyes out with an ice pick. Did you see it? That's gotta be like I cannot even imagine, y'all. I'm trying to dig up on it now, but like he stabbed his brother. And like the kid died. Like, how do you even make sense of that in your mind as a parent? I'm sure that like all kinds of investigations will be open now though, because oh my god, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. It's wild. Right. So that's where I was going with it, right? Because children at that age typically model the type of behavior that they're shown, right? So like and they're not gonna what can you do with a 5 year old? You know what I'm saying? But like I couldn't even believe it. And like so I let me back up a bit. I do believe that there are people that are inherently bad. You know what I'm saying? I do believe that. I believe that there are some people that are just born bad, right? But a kid? What up? How are you? I know I haven't really been around, y'all. Like this it's so much. It is so much. I had to meet with the probate people today. I met with a probate attorney this morning because like there's a lot of stuff that I know about, right? Like in all different areas, but like this is not one of them. You know what I mean? So like it's been keeping me busy. No, he stabbed him, Chrissy. Even worse, right? Because they say that stabbings are like the most like up close and personal type rage type killing, right? So like he grabbed a kitchen knife and murdered his twin brother. Oh my god, Jamato. I know nothing about I know nothing about it. And like here's the crazy thing, right? Like we were so prepared, right? Like we did all the things, right? It was all done and like I feel like it didn't matter that we did any of it. You know what I mean? It's just been a lot. Hey Dawn, how are you? How are you? What up, Ash? Listen to me. I really thought I really thought like everything was the ducks were all in a row. You know what I'm saying? But like my biggest thing what is like all right, so obviously like hey, I love to hear it. I love to hear it. My biggest thing, right? I'm grown. My middle sister's grown, right? So like we have someplace to go, right? Ultimately, this asset was the only thing that my mom really had, right? So like I'm really afraid that that like if the medical bills come knocking, right, that they'll force us to sell the house and what about my siblings? You know what I mean? Because even if they rent, right, granted, they would have a chunk of money that they could go into whatever. That's awesome that they could go and do whatever with. You know what I'm saying? But so that's what I'm hoping, but not according to them. Like I don't know. I don't know. But I saw this case and I was like, I haven't been live in a while. Let me go and we'll discuss it. Because My God, that's and like here's the thing, I don't give a shit, right? Like I'm not gonna live here, and the house is worth a lot more than what my mom still owes on the mortgage, right? But if so the plan is, right, I'm gonna go back to Florida, and my two youngest siblings will stay in the house, maintain the bills and all that other stuff, right? If we were to sell the house, it's not, Homestead isn't in New Jersey. I found that out today because Chrissy sent it to me. Well, so that's what he said. He said, I pulled, like, when we first started having that discussion, right? I opened her Credit Karma because we still have her phone, right? So I opened her Credit Karma and I was like, there's only like $1,300 here. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, what? That doesn't even make sense. However, I got something in my eye. I'm sorry, guys. It hasn't caught up yet, right? Like, so it's just like, if we were to sell, my middle sister and I would be fine, right? But like my younger siblings, right? It's awful. I can't, and that's what I'm afraid of, right? Like worst case scenario, we have to sell the house, right? It's not that I don't really mind. I just know my little sister really wants to, well, it has to be, well, a unanimous decision anyway, right? There is a tiebreaker. If we were to need one, it would be the kid's grandmother, and she wants to sell the house anyway. But I came across, I really haven't been scrolling much because I am eyeball deep in Jessica Kent. But like, that's awful. That's awful. See, my mom just moved here, I want to say 2009. No, 2019. She bought this house in 2019 because I moved here in 2018, and then she bought this house maybe 6 or 7 months later. I don't know. But as I was scrolling on TikTok, I know there's more of you in here now, I come across this case, somebody posted it, and I was like, what? A 5-year-old fatally stabbed his twin brother. And like, that's something like, how do you even begin to like, oh my God, that's terrible. See, I was talking to my ex-husband, right? He just lost his mom a year before, right? So at my mom's celebration of life, I was talking to his sister, who was the trustee, but my ex-mother-in-law was a multimillionaire. And I said, what did you do about the medical bills? And my ex-sister-in-law was like, they just stopped coming. I didn't pay them. So like in my mind, right, I'm like, well, they didn't go after my multi-million-dollar fucking ex-mother-in-law. Why would they come for my mom when the asset is the only thing she had? Like, my ex-mother-in-law had property up and down the East Coast, at least 40 properties. One of them is a commercial property on Staten Island that's probably worth $2 million. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, they didn't come for her. They're not going to come for mommy. But then the next day we got the call that like, they might, you know? And that's what I had always heard, was that like you could kind of negotiate with them. Right. So when you texted me that information, I did read about it. Jersey is not a participating state. And I really like, so so that's what happens to the credit card debt, right? The credit card debt kind of just they charge it off, but the medical bills are the ones that people say like Probate said, those are the ones you have to worry about, right? So like, could we, hi, how are you? Could we negotiate and then pay out of life insurance? Sure, right? But like, it's still it's a headache, right? And then like, we were talking about, because there's equity in the house, but thank you, there's equity in the house, right? So can we pull a home equity loan to pay them and leave the house. So like we're kind of thinking about that right now. However, the deed to the house is in our name, not the loan, right? It is crazy expensive. And like the week before she passed, she had a 5-hour brain surgery at Sloan Kettering. You know what I'm saying? She didn't have the best insurance. It's such a nightmare. So, right, all states are different. And, like, I agree. Like, I understand. I think that in this situation where, like, my siblings are young, you know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't be something, and like, I think that that's the thing. Yeah. So how about this? Her bank froze the account. So the morning after she passed, we went to the funeral home and like planned all that. He then notified like Social Security, and like all that stuff was done through the funeral home, right? They notified the bank and froze her account, right? I just got in the mail 3 different notices about insufficient bounced checks. Now, mind you, I haven't been able to get into the account since like, I want to say it was like 2 days after she passed. Like she passed that night. It wasn't that day. It might have been the next morning. I can't even log into the account. So like, I can't see what it is that's trying to come out. I can't make sure that like it's something like water that needs to be paid. So like, what? And they could freeze it because we did like, so the day that we thought she would pass, right? We transferred it all out. So like, you know, but I'm finding that I don't want anything to do with probate. And like, I'm finding it. So we did that, right? We did that. They froze the account and it was like 3 days. The third day we went in there. It is crazy. But like, you're sending me, yeah, it does. It did. But the grandmother is the executress and she's here. She doesn't live here. But we both, like I promised my mom I'd stay for 3 months. She promised my mom she'd stay for 2, right? So like, we're pretty much covered there. But it is just, I feel like, truly, like, I feel like everything we thought, right? Like, we thought the only thing that wasn't done was my mom meant to put the house into a trust, and she didn't. She didn't get to it, right? So even with the will in my hands, power of attorney in this hand, nothing. It did nothing. Like, I feel like every single day I open my eyes and it's something else. And it's like not a little thing, you know what I mean? It's like this big, huge project that like takes hours to sort through. My mom had cashed out one of her pensions a few months back. And you're in Jersey, right? DM me. Do you still have my number? Can you text it and I'll get back to you? POA dies with the person, right? At that point, the executress of the will steps forward, right? So, like, I really thought that, like, we were getting ahead of things. So my mom had cashed out a pension, right, that she had, I don't know, a few months back, right? Thank you. They just sent a letter, right? Now, my mom is passed, right? They sent a letter requesting my sibling's dad's death certificate, right? So yesterday we had to go on a hunt for their dad's death certificate because it's got to be the original. Hi, right? So now, don't ask, I don't know why. I go into like robot mode and just do. So now, wait, so I called the funeral home, right? That dealt with his service and whatnot. They can't give me the death certificate because he didn't die in this county. Dude, When I tell you, it is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And like, so that's one thing I'm super grateful for, Brittany. Like, my siblings and I are pretty much on the same page, right? The things that I've seen done, like with my ex-husband's family, is just gross, right? Like, I would never in a million years do something like that to somebody, especially like a close person that like you're supposed to be like family. I could never do it. But like my siblings and I are pretty much, I don't know. But like, here's the question now. My mother's dead. So like, I'm telling, it is a party a minute around here, because I feel like every day it's some new challenge that like we have to get through or like sort through. And don't, like, my mom, as disorganized as she was really good at keeping files of stuff, right? So I'm really lucky that everything important is in one place, right? But like, my God, oh my God, it is it, and I don't, right? And that's why like I really thought that like doing the Jessica Kent thing would kind of keep me distracted, you know what I mean? And I just want to, because I can't even listen to the voice at this point. Right? And like, here's the thing though, right? And I know that I've said this before, like, it gave me a whole new appreciation for like my stepmom, whom I hated beforehand, right? Like, not that I hated her, but like, I really think that it's just not something I dealt with, right? And in this situation, the oldest, hi Ashley, but I'm also like the more level-headed, right? Like, my siblings are still so young. Like, my little sister's 19th birthday was over the weekend. You know what I'm saying? And like, I know that like other families, like my little brother would sell the house, to be completely honest. He really wants to get rid of the animals, I'll tell you that, which somehow have become mine. Like, they sleep in the bed with me every night. And I don't know if y'all have seen Charlie, but like, he don't give you no room. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go right ahead. He would kill your dogs. And I do feel bad for people like that. Like, I'm super grateful that like we don't have to deal with any of that, But I do think that like with time, like I need a break. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. Thank you. I do. I need a break. Charlie, come with Sissy. He's been getting real rough with Papa, right? Papa is the Chihuahua, for those that don't know. He's been getting really rough with him, and I don't know why. And I also don't know why that cat, my mom's cat, legitimately just walks around this house screaming now. Just meows all day, all night. The other night, I caught him in the cabinet trying to open the treat box. Like, sir. And that might be true, but like, I don't know that he really liked her. You know what I mean? But up my ass all day long. All day long. And like, it's like, I can't get a break. And poor Finn, like, she's just gone. She's just like gone, hiding wherever. My little brother is allergic, so he doesn't let the animals into his room. So Finn hides in there now because they don't come in there to like bother her, right? Oh, happy birthday. Yeah, message me, because like, I'm telling you, like, I think that I'm pretty good at figuring things out, and like, I'm not stupid, but like with this stuff, I feel like one place tells me one thing, this place tells me something else, this place tells me something else, and then that's awesome. Did they come out good? I know you said that you were kind of like struggling with it originally, but then I thought you made ones that looked good. They did? I love cinnamon rolls. That's like one of my favorite treats. Oh, you got it down. So wait, is that what you're doing? Is that what you're doing? You're selling those? Yeah, send me a pic. I know you said you opened a business. Hi, Jen. How are you? Hi, Alice. But then, like, as I was scrolling TikTok, I was like, a 5-year-old stabbing their twin brother and murdering him. Like, I'm at a loss for words. Like, how does that even, I don't know. That's crazy. My daughter got one of her wisdom teeth pulled, so her face is all swollen and bruised. She's miserable. Miserable. I'm glad that it's not that cold out today. It could be worse. So, like, maybe I should count my blessings. Maybe it is. Oh, wait, that's US. Hold on. It's 34 degrees. I am. I'm going to switch to more like true crime or like, so like even with the Jessica Kent thing, it's not going to be a back and a forth thing. Like I'm going to drop it as a series and I'm going to keep it moving, right? Because they do look so good. Are you still here? They look so good. Oh, locally. But Ash, you could then get on the TikTok shop. Oh, can you do TikTok shop with like home cooked goods? Or did we learn a lesson with the pink sauce? I don't know much about it, to be honest. What's up with, oh, Jessica Kent? It's a lot, to be honest. Well, that I get that too, right? You also have 3 small kids, you know. I get that. So essentially, she's just a fraud. That's really all it is. It's so I'm always super fascinated by like people that. Hi, I hope everything's all right with you and that your mom is well. I'm always super fascinated by people that builds like this huge platform, right? And then throw it all away on the basis of not being able to be honest. It truly is. No, me neither, right? And to be honest, I probably should have done this then, right? But when I tell you that it's a lot, like it truly is a lot. And I posted some things just to I wouldn't give a damn really if like she posted for educational purposes only, or like she said or like verbalized or used the disclaimer stating that those stories were not hers, right? That really wouldn't bother me. So you think people do that all the time, right? And but when you build a brand on transparency and being authentic, and you are absolutely, and that's what I'm saying, like when there is so much evidence, right? Like, and I mean so much evidence of you using substances and having a problem with alcohol. And by no means am thank you. By no means am I, hi honey, how are you? By no means am I shaming the fact that she's been there, right? Because guess what? I've been there. And that's what the problem is gonna be here, is that I didn't necessarily want, right, to sit in front of hundreds of people and admit that I relapsed, right? But I did it. And I did it because there were people that looked up to me and people that related to that part of me, right? That's the problem, right? And I know I've said this before, and I will say it again. I am a firm believer in with great power comes great responsibility, right? And if you are in that position, I think that she would find that she would connect more with her audience if she was more authentic, right? But just the constant, somebody reached out to me. Thank you. Somebody reached out to me and wanted me to speak to her husband who is incarcerated, right? And I really, if I do that, I'm also going to talk to her, right? Because I feel like I really am trying to be biased, like, and investigate it as an investigation, right? I know. But there has been a ton of drama related to that community as well, and I don't want that, right? Like, I am not trying to put myself in that position. I will put the information out and I will keep it moving. You can do what you want to do, right? I am actually, here's how I feel about, I've spoken to Mindy. Here's how I feel about Mindy. Mindy owns it, right? And I will always give somebody credit for owning it, just like her husband, right? The emails that are coming out from people talking to him, he owns his shit, right? And that will always give you more credit where I'm concerned, right? Because I do understand that it takes a lot of balls, right, to come forward and be honest with the things that she's got going on. And I just feel like the people that support her and have supported her for many years deserve the truth. And, like, you can't preach transparency while being anything but transparent, right? I also don't think that I will, I feel like I don't necessarily like what she's doing to the ex, but I also think that there was abuse there, right? So that's going to be a topic that I kind of keep my distance from as well, because I don't like the narrative that she says that people picked her apart because she was abused, because that's not the case, right? Like, people started digging on her, number one, because she welcomed it, right? She told people, go pull my paperwork, do this, do that. And then when the tides turned, she didn't like it, right? And I'm really, like, surprised, right? Because she did make Mindy sign an NDA, right? But then she made that video essentially telling the recovery community that they shouldn't be supporting Mindy because she was an active addict. But she left out all these huge chunks, like people using hugs in her house and selling hugs in her house. And, like, I just feel like she didn't think that Mindy would push back. So that was irresponsible to do. You know what I'm saying? So then you can't make a video saying that the recovery community, blah, 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 and people could tell about their relapse when they want to, but you did this, didn't you? Right? Like, I don't know. I just feel like there should be some more. And it sucks because I think that she overthinks it, right? Like, just be honest. You know what I mean? And for me, I used to really support her, to be honest. But for me, it was the, Jen, did you see that UA? I gotta text you a picture of it. Did you see the UA? Because that's what did it for me. That's right. And that's what did it for me. Like, you have a base of, like, ex-addicts, and we all know what we're looking at, right? We know what you did to that UA to pass it. So, I don't know. Oh, have you? So, I said that before you came in, right? Like, I love CJ. I spoke to CJ too. I think that with the bigger the platform, the more responsibility there, right? And I don't think that's unfair. I don't think it's unfair of people to ask you to be who you claim to be. I don't think that's like, I don't think that's people treating you like trash. I think that that's people that just want, and what sucks is like, there are people that followed her, built bonds with her off of the stories that she told, right? Some were true, some. He has a peep tattooed in the middle of his forehead. I'm all for tattoos, right? Like, I get it. But you have a peep tattooed in the middle of your forehead, bro. And I think that that's incredibly dangerous, right? Because if you have, here's my thing, right? Getting out of an abusive, allegedly, I got to get more into that. But if you're getting out of an allegedly abusive relationship, right? You got to take that time to heal for you, right? Like, otherwise, you're going to continue to attract negativity, right? Now, we've seen it with Reese. We've seen it now with Jason. And, like, I was that kid, right? You got to remember, like, my mom was young, right? My mom was super young when she had me, right? So I grew up with her, right? And I was there for the long-term boyfriends. And I mean long-term, not 8 months, a year, like long-term, 3-4 years. These are men that as a kid I got attached to, right? I don't think it's healthy to do that to children. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, I agree there too. And I absolutely believe in karma, right? But like, I don't think, like, what are you teaching them, you know? Because that was my thing right. And that was my thing, like, when I had my children before I got married, right? And I always told my now ex-husband, right? Like, I didn't want to get married until I knew that I would be with that person forever, right? Because I didn't want my children to be introduced with all these men. Like, I don't think that that's right to do to a kid, because it's not fair for the kid to get attached, right? And they knew these people their whole lives, right? And then you just take that away and then move another dude in from the internet. They're not getting a chance to heal either, right? And that, it just seems like it seems like a really shitty situation, but unfortunately she's the only one that could change that. And I do think that a lot of her decisions right now are based on alcohol, right? I do think that, exactly. I now listen, I don't care who does what, right? I'm just saying, for me, these are my opinions, the way I think about things. I'm not trying to, complain about what anybody else does in their lives, but like, you just moved this dude into your house with your children who just lost their father 14 months ago. It's too much. It's too much. Right. Well, because he didn't have a place to go. Right? And I'm big on patterns of behavior, right? And I haven't watched her specifically. Like, granted, lately I've had to, because I'm doing this is just madness, right? This is madness, right? But like, that's the only time that I really didn't love you. I'll text you when I get off. I was following, thanks Charlene, I was following her snark page for a while before I said anything, right? That's like the only one I really follow, to be honest. But then he made a video threatening people on Reddit, and I was like, right? Because that's crazy. Like, you can't threaten people because they're seeing you for what you are. You know what I'm saying? And I also think that I really expected a lot of the ride or dies in my comments. I haven't seen a single comment. Not a single comment in my comment section defending her. And I really expected it. So I think that over the last year, things have certainly changed for her. But like, if we could see that, she's got to know that, right? So why not switch some shit up? And you can't say you're in your healing era, right? While doing everything and anything not to heal. That's just how I feel about it. Like, getting out of an 8-year relationship, you need to take some time there. And she didn't have that, right? There was Jason immediately after. And then after that, it was immediately, well, there was somebody else in between, the peep head. So like, come on. You have to focus on you. Hi, how are you? Yeah, I haven't been here in a while. Oof, codependency. And like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing, is that like, I can completely and totally relate to a lot of it. However, I can also recognize that those were toxic behaviors that I took part in. And like, don't you want better? And I do think, honestly, if anything, I've learned more and more that there are some people that are on this planet that are not meant to evolve. They're just gonna stay crappy humans. Hi. You know what I'm saying? But like, we're supposed to want better. We're supposed to want to be better. So like, and listen, it sucks. It sucks to go through shit in the public eye. Like, I totally get that. However, it's statistically impossible for everything that has been said to be untrue. And it really does, it is better if you address it head on. You know what I'm saying? The other thing that I'm absolutely obsessed with is the Do We Know Them podcast and that lawsuit. It's like laughable, y'all. I don't know if anybody's read the actual lawsuit, but it is awful. Awful. And like, I don't know how a lawyer is thinking that they're not going to be disbarred for that. Right. Like, and here's the thing. I just feel like, do I think that people in public, in the public eye, I'll say, are entitled to a bit of privacy? Yes, I do, right? However, if you're going to jump on these apps and out somebody else for a relapse, or if you're going to jump on these apps and say, don't give this person money because they're an active addict, and then willingly give an active pregnant addict money, you know, little hypocritical. It's a little hypocritical, and that's fine, but just own it. You can't just run from it. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And it's almost crazy to me, because I'm kind of at the point where like, does she not see it? Does she not see it? You know what I'm saying? Because it's so blaringly obvious. And granted, like, my kids are older, right? Like, my kids didn't have to, like, my husband, I think I was with John when he started dating the girl that he's with now. So my kids were not like that. Like, they weren't meeting men, women. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't know if that's, I think that's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Oof, that was a bad one, huh? That was a bad one. I also think that, like, I think that there should be some type of composure if there are children involved, right? Like, you don't see me getting on these apps and discussing my relationship with my ex-husband, right? Because I would never want my kids to hear or see me being negative about that dad. That's still their dad. You know what I mean? And there seems to be no qualms there, right? Like, and granted, they've been there, absolutely. They've probably witnessed way more than you know, any other kids have. I get that. However, you can't deny that you had a part in this as well, right? Hello. That's just how I feel about it. And lucky for me, my opinions, right, are opinion based. And I think that it's not fair or right to constantly throw crap at other people, and then when truths are told or people come and defend themselves, right, then it's you're a victim. I don't quite understand that mentality. And I'll be honest, I don't know why people like being a victim so much. I just don't understand it. Like, you really do have so much more power when you switch from like victim to survivor, right? I don't get that. I will never get it. I will never understand it. I don't know why people like being in that boat, you know? That's just me, though. How are you doing, Find Out? I haven't talked to you in a minute. I really haven't talked to anybody, y'all. Like, I've been... It's just been, like, one thing after the other, after the other. I see that, but, like, I don't understand why. You know what I mean? Like, in my mind, it's amen. Amen. It is so much, you have so much more power as a survivor, right? I feel you, trust me. I feel you. But I'm telling you, this year, I'm trying to check on my cousin because I think that she is having a baby today. This year, I am just not, it is, but you could do it. I know you can. I feel like there are some people that just can't get out of certain patterns, and it sucks for them, but it will not be me. You know what I'm saying? I think that everybody, for the most part, just wants to, like, move on. I know some people took the bait with the other, you know? But, like, let sleeping dogs lie. You know what I mean? It's just how I feel about it. That's just how I feel about it. I have been, I don't know, I just don't understand it, right? Because I think that, like, I'm at the point now where, like, the people, thank you, I think that the people that I talk to now, like, it's very, very, very closed circle, right? Like, I've just, as far as, like, people that I don't have, like, real relationships with, or people that I've had issues with, I just let it go. Like, it doesn't exist in this version of me. Does that make sense? How are you? I just, and like I said, like, even as far as the series that I'm working on now, like, it's not going to be a long drawn out thing. The information will be posted and people could do what they want with it, and then I will keep it moving and go to something else. And when that's something else, I like staying out of trouble. That's something else is going to make a lot of people really upset, but it ain't my problem, right? It ain't my problem. Because, see, the difference between me and a lot of other people is I was always better than what I was doing. And that's that. I was talking to, I haven't checked, I have Discord on my old phone, but I haven't been live in a while. I don't even know the last time I was live because, like, right, and like, that's the thing, Find Out, right? Like, I think that after years of doing, like, the same things, nah, I'm good. Yeah, no, I was live after my mom passed, but like, it's been a while. It's been a while. I'm supposed to, I'm supposed to be doing lives, but I haven't really, right, it's been a minute, right? And it's, oh, they're talking about Vegas. Y'all, I know Adele is doing uh, a weekend show series in Vegas. So I looked into it and she's not there in April. It's April 12th to April 14th. Oh, it's also Spanish Dad's birthday. She has a residency there. Yeah. So, like, I was trying to say, like, if she was there, but she has no dates in April. Right? Oh, you better get to it. Are you in here? I know Ashley just got in. I haven't been to Vegas. I was in active addiction the last time I went to Vegas, actually. It's been years. Like my kids were, nah, maybe they were like 6 and 7. But I haven't been to Vegas in years, right? And like I do think that Vegas would be, there's Charlie. What are you doing, Charlie? What are you doing? I do think that Vegas would be very, I don't gamble, right? So like, what am I doing in Vegas? Hi, Charlie. You've never been to Vegas? You've never been? Maybe we should go for this year Choice Awards. We'd have a blast. That's what they're talking about in Spanish Dad Serva is you haven't been to Vegas? Stop it. Why do I not believe that? Hi. Here he comes. Look. What? He's a very needy dog. What do you want? What do you want? I haven't been to Vegas. I want to say 2009, maybe 2010. Right. I stayed at there was an MGM hotel that was all suites. The suite was beautiful, and it wasn't necessarily expensive. But I meant to talk to my siblings about maybe going back to Mexico with the piece of my mom and spreading her ashes like where we were. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's different for you. But I don't know that, like, so like I never really had an issue with alcohol. Like, it's been years, right? But when I went to Mexico, I was drinking strawberry daiquiris because it was an all-inclusive. And, like, we paid for that shit, right? So I don't know what I would do in Vegas. I would go see Adele. I would go see Adele. That's one thing I would do. Oh, there's a new park opening. Do you know that I haven't been there? Like, lived in Florida for years, and I've never gone. Well, I've been, like, but years ago, like, when my kids were little. But I haven't, like, when I lived there, I didn't go. Oh, wow, that's a lot. I'm sorry. I don't know how, like, I hear that a lot, and like, well, right, it's not going to be, really? I'll talk to you after. Well, and that's what I would think, too, right? Because I'm certainly not 26 years old anymore, right? And I wasn't even, like, recovery wasn't even on my radar when I went to Vegas. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I don't know. I feel like, what would you do? And I'm sure there is a million things to do, right? Like, I'm sure there is. I think that everything is expensive, to be honest. I feel like everything has gone up, right? Like, I meant to check I feel like everything has just skyrocketed, right? Except gas, oddly enough. Gas is still relatively cheap here, anyway. But, like, it seems like, I don't know. I feel like everything's gone up. Legit everything. My little brother, so, you know, now they're getting a taste of, like, adulthood, right? And my mom and I had this conversation before she passed where, you know, we were talking about how they were still so, like, reliant on my mom for a lot of different things, right? And I said to my mom, right? I said, I don't think it's something that they're going to figure out until after you pass, right? Because it's like a shock to your system where, like, you have no choice, right? Sink or swim. That's it. My mom had me at 16. Surely she understood that, right? So my little brother is, that car insurance, I think it's like six something a month because we did pull my mom's car off. So it's like six something a month. Hey, you. So, like, they're getting a taste of, like, you know what I mean? Having to go to the grocery store and buy their own stuff. Like, they're getting a taste of adulting, right? And my little brother has this thing where he makes great money, right? But saves it all. And then when it's time to, like, he'll go to Wawa and he'll be like, do I want coffee? No, I'm not spending $4 on coffee, right? So, like, he's now, like, he was sitting at the table the other day and he said, where did I spend $900? And he's looking at it and I'm like, well, you have bills like auto pay coming out now, right? It's something that you have to get used to. It's being an adult, but, like, because my mom always paid the bills and stuff, right? It's like $3 here, maybe $2.99 maybe. But I feel like everything has gone up. Everything. I actually got to go to Walmart today because the dogs need, like, dog food. There's a few things that the house needs. But, like, when we were doing, like, the celebration of life and, like, dealing with, like, the food aspect of it, I told them, I was like, I'll cook, right? Because I had a catering company. I could cook for 100 people easier than I could cook for 4, right? So I was like, I'll cook. We just got to buy this stuff for me to cook. And it would have taken me days, right? But we did wound up having it catered, right? I made, like, a pasta salad, but we did wind up having it catered. And they were like, it's how much? And I'm like, you got to worry about feeding 100 to 150 people. So, like, it adds up. And it's a lot to watch, but it's got to be done, you know? They work at the same job, and that job closed for, I think it's 2 to 3 weeks, but I think it winds up being 5 to 6 because they're doing, like, renovations and stuff. They did this last year too, but they've been out of work since my mom passed. You know what I'm saying? So now they're like, we need money, you know, because, like, they know now, and I think that, like, when you turn into an adult and, like, you have, like, that appreciation for your parents always doing this and that and the other thing, I think now they finally get that, like, my mom did it all for them, right? I think that everybody has, like, that moment where, like, you think to yourself, oh shit, you know? How much easier you had it when somebody else was taking care of. And they're both pretty independent. I will say that. My sister has, like, I want to say at least 5 critters in her room. Bearded dragons, snakes, lizards, all kinds of shit, right? But guess what? Your electric bill, you're going to see that in your electric bill, right? So, like, it's right. It's I got to count down. April 10th, I'm in Florida, you know? Hi, how are you? But I get it, right? Because I had the same kind of thing, right? I was with my ex-husband for 17 years. So, like, I completely get it, right? I had to leave and start everything all over again. Granted, I was 36, not, you know, I think that maturity and age certainly plays a role, you know? And I think that my little sister is too young to fully, and like, that's what their grandmother was saying. Like, we're gonna do what we can and hold off what we can for a little bit, right? Like, because the truth of it is, like, we're still going through it. We're still finding, like, our new normal. because our entire life just changed, you know? Like, even though I lived in Florida, like, my mom and I was super close, you know? So it's the one thing, thank you, Ash, you don't have to do that. One thing that makes it easier is, like, a few days before she passed, she had her colon removed. The day before, 2 days, really. And, like, that's not what she wanted. Like, there would have been no quality of life there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's the one solace that, like, we have, right? Is that, like, she would have been miserable. She would not have wanted that. So my mom did buy them. I don't. So, like, towards the end, she was very confused, right? Because the swelling in her brain was causing a lot of complications, right? So she ordered the kids this book. And it was something about death, but it was legitimately, like, for a 5-year-old. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when she got it, and I'm looking at it like, this is kind of young. You know what I'm saying? And then... And then while I was cleaning, like, I've been trying to clean up, like, a lot of this stuff because my mom had 50 years of shit. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Carol, but you don't have to, seriously. And I've been trying to, like, organize and clean, you know what I mean? And I found she must have ordered them and then reordered them. Because we have, like, 7 of them. So I opened the Amazon account and I'm like, when's the return date? It was months ago. So now I just have a million. There's like 8 of them. Of, like, I forget exactly, like, what it was. And I'm like, what the hell are we going to do? And she did order books like Dying with Grace. And I'm like, it had to be hard for her too, you know? And, like, I get that because I'm like that, right? Like, when I'm trying to, that's the best way for me to learn is, like, read, right? And, like, I read a lot, right? And when that's, you know, if I'm going through something tough, like, I'll read all over the place trying to, like, because I do want to learn. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But I was like, and I got it, I get it, but it's sad, you know what I mean? That because I can't imagine, you know, I can't imagine how I would feel if, like, my kids just, right, if like, I died at this point, like, with my kids that age, you know what I'm saying? And I try to, I think, like, it's a lot of pressure, right? Because my siblings do have, like, a lot of trauma. And, like, it's my job now, you know? But my ex-husband brought his baby to the celebration of life, right? And I got a good laugh out of it because, like, sir, you're 45 and your children are 19 and 20. I just want to know what made you want to do it again. I just want to know. I just want to know when you're up at night with a newborn baby, do you, like, kick yourself in the ass? Hi, how are you? Like, because I can't imagine. No. So my mom did that, right? Like, I was 21 when my middle sister was born. Because I know people forget that I have the middle sister because she doesn't live here. So you primarily hear me talk about the kids, the babies. But, like, I was 21 when my mother had her, right? And then I got pregnant with my son, and my mom got pregnant with my brother, and I got pregnant with my daughter, and my mother got pregnant with my sister, right? My mom did that. She was 41 and 42 when she had my siblings. No. There's absolutely nothing that anybody could tell me to get me to start over. Never. Sorry. Never happened. Never. So I made fun of him. I was like, how do you feel at 45 with a newborn baby? Well, like while my kids were standing there. My son, my son got an initial for his girlfriend tattooed on his ring finger. And I looked at him and I said, like, he was about to leave the celebration of life. And I seen it and I'm like, what? What? And he was like, how can you? No, what? Granted, they've been together a few years, right? Oh, see, I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. I don't know how people do it. I really don't. I was like, I said, let me see your finger, right? And now my kids both tower over me because I don't know why, but for some reason, people always think I'm taller than I am. I'm actually pretty short. And I was like, what is that? And his father, who is dead set against tattoos, was standing there. And he was like, I said, and so that obviously prompts my ex-husband to look at me and be like, it's all your fault, because he doesn't like tattoos. My son's first tattoo, he got my birth date in Roman numerals on his chest, right? My daughter just got her whole forearm, her whole forearm done, right? And she sends it to me when she's sitting in the chair. And I'm like, why did you do that? I'm all for tattoos once you have like a profession in place, but like you don't tattoo below the cuff line before you know what you're doing in life. You just don't. And like, she's like, why? I can hide it. And you're right. But I remember being in nursing school. I didn't have these at that point, right? And the girls that did had to cover them. You could not have them open in clinicals. So I'm like, you should never tattoo below your cuff line until you know what you're doing. And she's actually studying for the LSAT. So I'm super excited about that. I can't imagine, because like, here's the thing. I don't know why, but since I had COVID, I am super tired all the time, right? Like, I normally get up early, right? I'll normally fall asleep between 10 and 11, like around there. I get up at 11, right? I go to sleep, like I want to be in bed by 8 and I'm sleeping by 9. Like, it is crazy. Right, I know that it is, like, I get it. I'm just like, why would you do that? Like, I have tattoos, right? Like, I actually, like, I have, like, probably 15. But, like, I didn't start doing that until after I was done in college. I had a few, but not like I do now. It does, so, really, because I'm telling you, y'all, like, remember I had COVID. I got it. I'm almost convinced I got it when I went to see her at Sloan the day of the surgery, right? And then I came back the next day. I wanted to absolutely die. But ever since then, like, I'm not normally like that, y'all. Like, I'm normally, like, up in the morning, drinking coffee, feeding the animals, doing what I gotta do. And my brother is the same way. So, like, the only thing that I could really trace it back to is COVID. Right. And like, here's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, keep them hidden until you know what you're doing in life, you know? After you have a job, like a profession, do what you're going to do. But, like, you're going to be going on interviews for law school with this, and I'm gonna show you a picture. And you'll know why I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Because it's not a small tattoo. It's not small by any stretch of the word. Poor kid. She just had her wisdom tooth out and she's miserable. Where is it? And my ex-husband looks at me and he's like, yeah, that's all you. I'm like, It's all my fault that they get tattoos and piercings. It's my fault, you know? I can't find it. Might be in the phone I'm on. Yeah, so my daughter isn't a criminal justice major, but she is studying for the LSAT. And I'm like, where does the time go? Right? Because I swear it was just yesterday. She was like, I was at her dance recitals, you know? It's gotta be in my other phone. But like, I even understand that that kids, like, it's a different world. I'm not gonna say that it's not. I totally get that, like, things are much more liberal in that department. But I'm asking her because it's got to be in the phone I'm on. And I get that, right? I think that things have certainly changed. Like, they're much more acceptable than they used to be, right? But I'm just saying, I would rather when she called me, like, while she was in the chair, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, why didn't you tell me before you got in the chair? And why did she not? Because she knew exactly that I was going to tell her, what are you doing? Wait. And like, if she wanted to put the tattoo somewhere else, I wouldn't have said a word. I just feel like you should have left it alone until you knew what you were doing. Right. Well, Chrissy. That's what I call him. And every time, like, somebody says something about him, I'm like, he's got a peep tattooed in the middle of his forehead. Why would I take anything he says seriously? You tattooed a peep in the middle of your forehead. And, like, don't get me wrong, there are some people that, like, I don't mind face tats on. I wouldn't do it for me, but I don't mind, like, other people doing it, right? But it's not, like, the whole face, right? I just can't get behind it. That's just me. You know what I mean? Listen. I actually gotta drop off. We got, a bunch of little urns for, like, members of my family that want some of my mom. And I'll be completely honest, my uncle, who has no power at all, is wanting to put my mom in a mausoleum on Staten Island. And my mom didn't want that, right? So I'm really struggling. Ma'am, that's her forearm. Her forearm. What do you want, Charlie? The dog is, like, pacing. And don't get me wrong, it could have gone somewhere else and I wouldn't have a single thing to say about it. Obviously, I can't say anything about it now either, right? What's done is done, and this is permanent ink, right? I just wish that she would have waited to do that. Welcome to adult children, right? Right, and that's what she says, right? I could cover it, because at my mother's service, you didn't see it, right? Because it was covered. She can cover it. There's no disputing that. I'm just saying, I wish she would have waited until after you got out of, at least finish undergrad. I would have had nothing to say. But instead, she sent me a picture of it while she was sitting in the tattoo chair. You know what I mean? Crazy. It's crazy. All right, y'all, I'm going to hop off. I hope that everybody has a good day. And I'm telling you, Chrissy, look into that. 5-year-old kid stabbed and killed his twin brother. I'm going to look into it more when I get off, because I just can't fathom. You know what I'm saying? I just can't fathom it. But that's what I came to talk about when I started the live. We just got majorly distracted. But other than that, I love most of y'all. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, it's California. Oh, that's right. I saw it on my FYP. And I figured I hadn't been live in a while. Let me just go and take a break from, like, you know. But I hope that everybody has a good day. And I will see y'all soon.